For 2025 meeting of the Monmouth Planning Board. I'm Stephen O'Donnell, the chair. Let's call the meeting to order. We have the entire board here tonight, so I don't think we'll need the alternates to vote, but certainly they can contribute their comments. First item on the agenda is our minutes from the last meeting. And I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second, that with direction or a question, I guess.
Okay. What's your question, Ray?
On the 5A at the bottom, we have motion by Dave Mills, second by Dave Grant. Is that a new member?
Yeah, instead of going through the whole subdivision list criteria, I think that's what that was for, if I remember correctly. We were gonna do the whole, do it.
Who's David Grant?
Oh. Let's try David Mills. Rick Grant, David, oh, whatever, they're twins.
Dave Mills
I think
made
it
the
was
motion.
Dave that second. don't you?
Yeah.
Was it Dave or was it you?
I think it was me that said it.
Okay, so we'll change Dave to Rick. The second Dave.
Rick to Rick.
Yeah.
The second Dave to Rick. Oh, that's right, because David already made the motion, so yeah, all right.
Grant.
Any other issues?
No.
With that correction, all in favor of approving the minute with that one amendment? All right. So we can get into our agenda. So under old business, we have the review of the shoreland zoning application from Don and Scott Flagg. They had they have a structure on 12 Bailey Lane that was substantially destroyed as a result of or damaged as a result of a fire. And we had a site visit weeks ago, I think, July 24th, which was well attended. And anything new to add since we had that site visit?
No, just that Bill Monaco did visit the site on site last week, so he wasn't able to be at the site visit. So he's here tonight, so asking questions.
So the issue for the planning board is when there is a significant damage to a structure that is within the setback, you have to determine that the project would obviously not reduce that setback, but also would meet it to the fullest practicable extent. And I think your request, citing a few factors, is that you want to have it the same size, remaining in the same place.
We want to replace it with a structure that is ostensibly the same exact structure, same size, same building materials, same everything.
And then there would be a couple of trees that you're proposing should be removed, both because they're a danger to the building. Mostly, I think for that reason, and may have some damage to them already.
Right, one in particular, right off the southwest corner of the camp, will be compromised by the regrading that we'll need to do around the camp. And a second one, because we believe its root systems will, the first tree, the grading will go right into where the tree is. The second one will severely compromise the roots and thus the tree being non-viable at that point.
So other than the tree work and maybe a little grading around the building, there's not going to be any significant soil disruption.
No, under the camp, we want to try to lower the elevation a little bit just to get, because the two stone fireplaces, our floor elevation is kind of set. But we want to try to get a little bit more airspace under the camp. So we may pull some soil back under the camp a little bit, but just enough to get that airspace.
Some type of infiltration trench on the exterior.
Yep, we've talked about putting kind of a, on the backside of the camp where we have to lower the elevation a little bit, is putting a little retaining structure in, several feet behind the camp. And then having a crushed stone, infiltration bed that catches both the runoff off the roof and any runoff coming down the hill, and then directs it away from the camp, so it's not going under the camp.
So as we're facing, say, the camp from Bailey Lane, looking toward the lake, is there one direction to the right or the left that you would expect most of that flow to go?
Right now, most of it goes to the left, but there's a tree on the left side, on the northeast corner of the camp that we are not gonna remove. So we're afraid that trying to direct the runoff that way and put a positive drain in will affect the roots of that tree, which we don't want to do. Josh, we haven't talked to our contractor about this, but when we met on site with Bill, we talked about directing the water to the south, where those trees are gonna come down, and daylighting it out the bank on the south side of the camp, not on the north side of the camp.
Bill, do you have some input on that?
No, I mean, that made a lot of sense to me when I was there looking at it, realizing there were 2 large trees there, and they're gonna be moved or removed. And then there's gonna be some replanting, but they have the opportunity, like Jim said, to put in a trench, put in a perforated pipe in there, and then daylighting that over to the south, to the right, looking at the back of the camp, over to an area where it's wooded. To the left, it looks like a really good place too, but then like Jim says, it'd be disturbing roots. Because there's a low-lying depression area, down near the shore, it looks like the shoreline rises a little bit, like it's burned a bit. And the water, and Jim had told me and what appears would happen, runoff going down to the north of the camp, to the left, looking at the lake. It doesn't flow right into the lake, it settles in there and it infiltrates. But I think sending it to the south, to the right, to a wooded area or anywhere where it can dissipate without going directly to the lake makes a lot of sense. And like he said, he's gonna be collecting roof runoff as well as upland runoff coming towards the camp from up above.
Anybody else have comments or input or anyone in the audience here that lives in that neighborhood or in town that has a question or comment?
Yeah, Steve. I'll be presenting an application for the adjoining property on Kintop later in the meeting. I strongly urge and recommend that the flow from the water from the Bailey or from, can't be directed to the south.
You think that makes more sense?
I mean.
It's gonna dump on that property.
It's away from that
Are you over on
property.
the old?
Yeah.
the same trail?
Isabel?
I did get one thing emailed to me that I offered to read into the record, if that's okay. So, this is from a Paul White, who received a notice at the meeting, regarding the flag's issue on rebuilding their camp. As they have property in the camp area, they will not be able to attend. The camp very much adds to the lake surroundings and was there way before any planning committee was formed or implemented restrictions on building near the lake, etc. The property owner should be grandfathered in so that they can rebuild the camp regardless of the percent of destruction caused by a fire. Please note that the fire was caused by tree limbs that fell during a windstorm along an area that the power company has neglected, keeping a suitable tree and limb free buffer zone around the power lines. If anything, the town should do more to encourage the power company to do more to prevent fires and protect private property versus spending limited resources on placing additional restrictions on private landowners, improving their property to its original condition. Sincerely, Paul White.
Okay, so he's in a butter or within the neighborhood or?
It's cross Bailey.
Yes. All right. So I think the first thing we have to address is the setback. And we would need, if we agree with the applicants, we would need a motion that this plan, that the setback to the lake would be met to the fullest practical extent by this setback due to the constraints of the site in terms of
Slope of the land.
slope of the land, the other buildings present, the fact that there be no soil disturbance of a significant nature if they're just gonna do some excavation under the existing camp.
If you want, I can move that we approve this project with conditions.
Right, but the first question is whether the setback would be met.
The setback has been met to the greatest practical extent. Therefore, that we approve the project.
Is there a second on that? Second. All right. So let's discuss conditions. I know our planner has recommended certain findings. It's based on what we heard tonight. Isabel, is there any change to?
I did just have a clarifying question. This might be for Bill. So one of my conditions was runoff shall be directed to the existing drainage. I'm hearing not the existing drainage, the wooded area on the other side instead.
Right.
Okay.
But the runoff, is it from the structure or is it from upland? I mean, they're gonna be directing both runoff from up above. That's flowing towards the camp,
Yeah.
the structure to the south, where it normally was going up, probably up or underneath the existing structure.
Okay.
Now it's gonna be directed in a much better place.
Some of the natural runoff will still go to the east. But any runoff that comes down and intercepts the camp drainage will go to the south.
Right, okay, great. That answers.
So runoff should be directed to the existing drainage to the east and to new, what should we call it? New,
My understanding is without the trench, the way to picture the roof is, what was coming off the back, the west side of the camp was hitting the foundation and either flowing under the camp or around the camp. So that's now gonna be directed to the south. So half of the roof is gonna have, half of the roof, the west side of the roof is gonna be directed to the south.
okay.
The east side of the roof is gonna go where it normally has always gone.
So what we have, we're saying crushed stone shall be added to the drip edge of the building in order to minimize direct runoff to the lake.
On the west side.
And so we should say runoff from the west side shall be directed to the existing drainage.
No, the east
No,
side.
East side, okay. Runoff from the east side of the roof shall be directed to the existing drainage. And runoff from the west side would be directed to the south.
To a tree buffer south side,
To a what?
a tree buffer
Okay.
south side.
All right, so that was condition 4. The others are pretty standard conditions. This won't require a permit by rule.
We'll be right on the edge of 75 feet.
You're
I
gonna
think, yeah,
request it.
we'll file it just to be on the city side.
And you just file a copy with us. Yeah, we have that, number 6, I think. Okay. So do we have a motion to approve with those 6 conditions and the amended number 4? Or is there anything else that's needed?
That footnote that, the applicant has to incorporate the recommendations of Bill Monagle. That'd be the only thing.
Well, I think we've done that.
We've covered that. So, yeah, I think I agree with those. And then the other considerations are set up the road control and Bassett and I discussed that. I think it's either like a sock type thing with some erosion control mulch and or hay bales, whatever it is, but I like at least 2 layers. Hay bales holding up or supporting any erosion control mulch if it's not, you know, or a sock type thing, at least two layers, but, looking at the terrain there, it slopes down a little bit, then it flattens out pretty good towards the lake. And one thing I did notice is that there's a lot of pine needles there and there's no, I mean, it's been dry, no, granted, it's been dry, but there's no sign of, I don't see any scouring or needles being moved or anything. And that's why I think like if the place is gonna be built with the exact same roof, same pitch, I don't see that all of a sudden it's gonna cause a problem if the existing one hasn't already caused much of a problem. But I think I just think the trench in the back is a step in the right direction where it's an improvement over what's there right now, so.
So we have erosion control measures must be installed and maintained during construction, meeting the specifications contained in the Maine Department of Environmental Protection's erosion and sediment control best managed practices.
Or better.
Or better.
We
So
might
do we-
just add and following the recommendations of the Cohasset Watershed District.
Okay,
at The end of that.
all right. So with those 2 amendments, we have a motion?
Again? Make it again.
Yeah, make it again, because we made another change.
Okay, I move that we accept the project of the applicant, whereas they have met the standards of placement, not being capable of being moved, and with the conditions that are stated.
So a motion to approve with these 6 conditions. We have a second? Second. Rick, second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. Very good. Thank you for your,
Just a point of clarification, we still need a building permit from the town of Monmouth.
yeah,
The
the other thing we didn't say is post-construction. We got to reopen that, I think, and add, don't we have to add that? Or do we need to add post-construction photographs submitted to the?
That's something that's part of the normal conditions we have, right?
No,
No,
It's not.
it's not on our standard conditions. So I think we add a 7th condition, which would be to provide either the town planner or code enforcement officer with post-construction photographs, sort of showing what you've done.
building, the drainage.
Yeah. So with that,
you got permit by rule and post and.
yeah. So with that added condition, everyone in agreement, all in favor? Yeah. Okay. To clarify, we haven't. Anything out. All right, that takes care of it.
So. Submitted.
And I think when we met with the planning board on site, there was you're in a transition with the code officer. Do we have
Still there.
to talk to? or
Yeah,
Still,
yeah.
That's CEO.
okay.
Mondays is a good day to usually.
Okay.
Before 11.
Perfect, thank you.
We'll get your written decision.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. This the second item on our agenda is actually sort of an amendment, I think, to the prior submission by Lake Star for subdivision of Route 135. And I think there's been some discussions with DEP and a decision to at this point, request approval of a 5-lot subdivision. Jeff, we'll hear from you.
Okay, thank you. Jeff Allen from A. Hudson Engineers, and been here a few times. So, yeah, we have an application into DEP, and they've had some staffing shortages that have kind of delayed the project. And some changes we wanted to make to the project, so we're able to build something this year. We've kind of toned this back down from originally, I think we had 26 lots. Now we're just looking at 5 lots. One is existing, the existing farmhouse there. And they got a permit from the code enforcement office to build one other building that they've started on. So what we're doing tonight is adding 2 more homes that they could build plus the parent lot. So we'd end up with a total of 5 lots, 4 with houses on them, and the 5th lot that we're not proposing to build on yet. In the meantime, we're continuing to work with DEP and Bill to meet phosphorus standards that are they're a challenge in this site. It's kind of it's discharges to 2 different lakes. And so it's hard to do and meet all their requirements. So we're doing the best we can.
So all these lots that you're gonna, the 2 additional lots will also access from the side road?
Yeah, this is the existing Birchwood Drive along the top here. And I think that when we did the site visit years ago, it's been a while. Yeah, it was real cold. I don't remember exactly what, like January, February cold.
January 4th.
Wow. We've, accessed along here and then walked in, and I think we walked in sort of into this area. But this, the 2 other houses that we wanted to build, this is the one that's being built now, right here. And we've got a phosphorus buffer downstream of that, down gradient of that. We have 2 more here and here, and these dark boxes you see are the phosphorus buffers. So I don't know if you can see.
Where is the 5th lot?
The 5th lot's what's left. Huh? The 5th lot is just what's left.
The 5th, I thought that was one.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I recall it.
it said 5 lots, and I
It
was
is.
counting the building lots, I'm
Yeah.
going, where's the next one?
Yeah. It's lot 1,
6 lot.
yeah. Oh, 5, I think, maybe, we had a couple.
Here it says 6 lots.
Yeah, in the original application, and Isabel noted that we've made changes now to 5. We sent a revision to her that says it's 5 lots. So we got the original lot out here with the farmhouse on it. The second lot is right here.
Right next to it.
Yeah, right next to it. The 3rd lot is here, which we're calling lot 3. The rest of it is lot 4, which we're not building anything on.
Okay.
This is the what?
Oh, no, we're gonna work around those. And then lot 5 is out here. This is we originally called this lot 10, it's confusing, so now this is lot 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And which one is the second, the one we allowed you to start construction
And
on?
lot 2.
Yeah. The second. Oh, that's the second.
Old lot 4.
Yeah, old lot.
Oh, lot 4, yeah.
Okay. All right.
So this is the new numbering system. You'll probably, we want to keep these same lot numbers, but it's gonna get confusing with the next.
It already is.
Oh, yeah, it gets worse.
So what if any access rights to the lake are these 4 developed lots gonna have?
When the subdivision is entirely done, we're going to have a large common lot that's in this area right here that has access down to a beach area right in here. So that, they're still working on the legal descriptions of what that's how that's all gonna entail. But what we're thinking right now is this enables us to get in and build more houses. I don't know if they're gonna be able to sell them until we have the entire thing permitted. And at that time, we'll have common land that will provide the beach access.
So at the moment with the 4 units, if you will, none of those are going to have access to the lake. Is that correct?
Lot 5, which is out here,
Oh, okay,
will actually have frontage on the lake.
okay.
So that's the only direct access to the lake.
And there's no really roadway that exists to that area that before you designated as a potential common lot.
Right. No roadways included.
Right.
There is a very rudimentary woods road that,
They're existing.
yeah, existing.
Snowmobile trail.
Yeah, it's, you can get in there, but you gotta have a 4-wheel drive
Yeah.
and know how to use it. But that's not.
Added roads, how's that?
Yeah.
And that's the reason we're doing these few lots is we're creating less than 20,000 square feet of new impervious
Yeah.
area. So it doesn't require any DEP permits. And actually, we have no wetland disturbance with these lots either.
Does the one lot that has that frontage, can I just?
Sure. This is the frontage right here.
Yeah, and this is where the house will be?
This is where the house would be, that's the stormwater pond.
Okay. And so it comes off Birchwood?
It comes off Birchwood with the driveway.
Okay. So that would be paid.
We're not sure. Right now, we're figuring they will not be paved.
Okay.
So all our calculations are based on having the roads and driveways not
Not
paved.
paved.
So it's actually a little more conservative. If the owners decide to pave them later, there's less phosphorus that runs off pavement than does off gravel. So that's a little bit of a safety factor that we're maintaining for later.
Isabella, on the planning office letter, there's reference to a 4-lot subdivision. Can you clarify that for me?
So it's 4 lots currently being developed,
4 lots,
4 lots currently being developed, but
okay.
essentially 5 total. And just to clarify, in the initial, if you're looking at my completeness letter, which yes, that's what you're looking at, in an original submission this round, so in July, it was a 4-lot subdivision that then in response to my comments has been a 5-lot subdivision.
Okay, good, thank you.
Yes.
I guess the other question I
We
got,
actually have 4 lots that are going to have residences on them. And one is a large accumulation of everything that's left.
Remaining land is what I would call it, yes.
Okay.
Yes, you're right.
Some towns don't count lots over 40 acres, but Monmouth does. So that's why it's a 5th lot.
under general topography, what's the reference to Route 133?
The typo.
What?
It's a typo.
Okay.
135.
135?
Yeah.
And I guess the other one, what's the status on Mylars?
There's no more Mylars. The registry doesn't accept Mylars anymore. It's on our list of amendments when we start this fall going through comprehensive ordinance to.
Okay, so we can cross that out.
Well, we have to, I think, because it's in our ordinance, we have to waive that requirement. So I would entertain a motion to waive any requirement for Mylar.
Because I understood that, accept that.
Registry doesn't accept them. So is there a second? Second by Ray. All in favor of waiving any requirement for Mylar? Taking care of that.
6, 5.
So, Isabel, and based on where we are now, are the recommended findings that you, or conclusions that you do we have to make, review any type of changes based on what's occurred since we did this?
Nope, just to clarify, there was some back and forth between the applicant and I that I think is reflected in your packet. I had submitted initially an incomplete letter with a variety of comments that they have since responded to. So there was a little bit of changing and movement at that point, but the findings of fact and memo that have been drafted and provided are the most up-to-date from my end.
So, and I think I'm just looking at what's number 23. Building envelopes have been set to avoid wetland impact. Noted above are no rare or irreplaceable natural habitats. There are no steep slopes. Not a commercial or multifamily development. And maybe I'll turn to you, Bill, on this. Are there concerns about the say, to make sure that buffers aren't damaged by construction activity, or address that somewhere, whether in here or?
I had reviewed the updated, and did a revised phosphorus calculations that Jeff put together with the two buffers. Two of them are 50 footers, one's 130 footer, different soils, everything matches, everything works out. And I sent Jeff an email just saying, and with a list, an attachment, saying these are some things, not all of them are required. These are things that are recommended by DEP for buffers. One of them is that there's at least like a limit of disturbance established, so the contractors know not to be taking heavy equipment into what is supposed to be a buffer area. That's not so much an issue when it's a wooded buffer, unless you're gonna cut down the trees. But if it's a meadow buffer, you might drive over what's in disturbed soil. So as long as the contractor is made aware and the limit of disturbance is outlined on the project on each site, that's good. I know, I noticed in Jeff's, I think it was, date was the 29th, the report, yeah. He mentioned deed restrictions will be placed on each lot for the buffers. And he also, in a conversation I had with him today, that the buffers will also be marked and staked or marked on the site for the property owners to know where the buffers are, so that they don't, inadvertently or accidentally get in and start doing some trimming.
And then I understand another condition is gonna be on the, there'll be a deed requirement that the lot owners belong to the road association, homeowners association.
There'll be a homeowners association for this group and for the future development. And all the homes that have direct access or use Birchwood Drive will also share in the maintenance costs for that. And I think Holly has worked with
Yeah.
Dan to work out some of those details.
Yeah.
So, again, when I spoke with Bill, one thing the town does is require that, the surveyor when staked out where the corners of the building is gonna be. At the same time they're doing that, they can define the buffer, just putting stakes in the corner. Because actually that's something that DEP is gonna wanna see when we do the remainder of the development. So, if we get used to doing it now, then it'll just be routine when we get the full build out.
One of the things I mentioned to Jeff in my email to him is the reason that I was asking for some of these considerations is because they're relying so heavily on buffers to do all of the house lots. And right now, we're looking at 3 new house lots. That's not that big of an issue, but if it's gonna be 18 or 20 or 26, it becomes an issue. And if the buffers, it's gonna be imperative that these buffers are effective and protective, so. Being so close to the lake and also a lake like Anabas, which is impaired.
Anyone have any other questions or comments from the board? Anyone in the audience interested in this project have any comment or?
Yes, I am engaged by Dan Roy, Steve Vetty, and I'm doing boundary survey on the adjacent property, which is the remainder lot of the Larry Sear property. I really have questions on the road. Now, I recognize and understand that Larry Sear, and when he was alive, and Don Piper exchanged easements. Larry Sear was granted a 30-foot easement from Route 135 back to the limits or northerly limits of what is known as Lawrence, which is about 1,000 feet, 1,100 feet from Route 135. The fee interest in Birchwood Drive across, I think it's lots 5 through 8, no, I think 1 through 4, 1 through 4, that's it. It's owned by the lot owners on Lawrence Park. First, I question, and now, there was time when Lawrence Sear had agreements with, I think, the lot owners in Lawrence Park at the time, plus also multiple lot owners in what I call the petty lots. The petty lots are all the lots that front on Lake Anabassacook, which were developed by George Petty long before any of this took place. There was a bunch of it, and there were some undefined easements. So they extinguished some of the roads that went through what's now the gravel pit. So first I question, I haven't really got my grasp on this. Did Larry Sear have the authority to grant to Piper, which is now Lake Star, an easement across Birchwood? That's the first question. Now, Piper obviously had the authority to grant to Larry Sear the 30-foot easement from Route 135 down to essentially the limits of Lawrence Park. At that point, Piper granted to Larry Sear a 10-foot easement on the Lake Star property and a 40-foot easement across Birchwood on the portion that he owned. So first of all, there's the status of the ownership of the road. Now, the town ordinance, as far as I understand, and I'm staying corrected, is the subdivision requires a 50-foot road. I don't know if you can achieve a 50-foot road. You're doing it through these easements. Second of all, we come to the location of the building that is under construction. I know for a fact, because I have located, doing my work for Roy and Reve, have located the existing building. That building does sit outside of the 30-foot easement. But where does the town, or how does the town apply the 50-foot setback from the road? In this case here, and I know the town ordinance says that if the right-of-way cannot be determined, you go 25 feet or plus 50 from the center line of the road. But I would submit to the board that the right of way can be determined if that 30-foot easement. And if that's the case, that existing building exists within the existing required setback. That's fact, I know that. I haven't published the plan, on it, but it's there. So I think there's some clarification that is required by this board as to one, the status of the ownership of Birchwood Drive. I know Birchwood Drive for a fact is in fee is owned from Route 135 down to the northern limits, about 1,000 feet. They might be closer to 11. From there, it's a portion that's still owned by Steve Vervey and Dan Rubin. Then it goes into the lots, what I call the petty lots along the shore. But this project doesn't get involved with that. Second would be is, does this subdivision, with adding all these lots, constitute an overburdening of the easement private property across Lawrence Park and through Fruit?
Isn't that an issue for the homeowners association to raise?
Well, I think this board needs to address it here.
Well, unless the homeowners association comes to us and says, we think
There
there's
is
an
a
issue.
homeowners association.
A road association.
There's,
Well,
it's an informal.
I'm here and I'm one of the people with that abutting properties.
Right, but
Survey for me.
is there a road association?
Yes.
There is, yeah.
There is a road association.
Birchwood and-
So I guess we would want to know, what is the position of the road association? So I think we would need whoever the president, to inform
Well,
us.
That's Dan and I'm the VP, so I mean, I'm on the board.
Yeah,
That's Dan, and he wrote,
Yeah, so we have granted access to the road with the conditions that they help to maintain.
right.
As an abutter, I have the concern that we're meeting setbacks, and particularly with, new properties coming in, one of which is directly across from me, that was originally, I think, a road being cut across from my drive, which now appears to be driveway. I think maybe a little further down to the corner, which. So now I've got two cuts across. Just whatever clearance is. And that we need setbacks. And that's what this is, that I'm gonna be doing, I'm doing bond. I want to have a clearance to the setbacks are, because I'm gonna need to do the same thing, so.
I could have our surveyor talk to you and try to sort this out. Alan Perry from Bangor.
Yeah,
Thank you, the card.
Yeah, I
have to pass it.
second would be, and is the application of where is the town applying the setback limit for the road? On the plans, you're showing it from the perimeter boundary line. If you look at your
Yeah.
plans, I looked at it, you're looking at here. One that they're building.
The one they're going now.
Yeah, see, if you look at, let's see it.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah, you're looking at, where's your building setback? Right here, right here, all right. You're doing building setback right here. Right,
50 feet.
50 feet, but you're coming off the perimeter boundary line. You even tell me that here.
Oh, I have to see this, because I don't
But I-
understand as much as you do. Can you do that again?
All right, here is the perimeter boundary line.
Okay,
This was the perimeter boundary line between the Sear, what I call the Sear property,
okay,
and this was at one time Frost, later Don Piper.
Yeah.
Right now Lake Star.
Yeah.
These lots constitute Lawrence Park, developed in 1978.
Yep.
Don Piper and Larry Sear exchanged easements. Larry Sear getting an easement 30 feet, and they're showing it in this line, this very faint line along here. This very faint line right outside, you see the dash line
the
right?
dash line.
Well, Larry's the
All right.
between Larry
And then
and Piper there.
Piper got 20 feet in here.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
But 20 feet from the perimeter of the boundary guys did not include Birchwood Drive. So with this, I believe, as I understanding, is you're including that 50 feet for the road access. Correct? Where are you getting your 50-foot road?
We're assuming the road, I guess the road is where it is.
Yeah, but the 50, that Birchwood Drive does not exist within the easements.
Outside.
All right. Now, but where are you,
Outside.
putting that fact aside, where are you getting your 50
Outside,
feet?
We're doing 50 feet back.
You're getting your 30 feet and 20 feet.
Yeah, we're doing 50 feet back from the
No,
property line.
Yeah, you are. So you're putting your entire road in here.
No, we're sharing the use of this road.
Yeah, so the road definition is 20 feet on the Sear property
Mhm.
and 30 feet on the Lakestar property. That's where you're constituting a 50-foot right of way.
So the,
So if the right of way is the 30-foot line here, then you have to set back your building to the limit of 50 feet. If the existing building that's under construction does not meet the setback.
It's not yet.
And I know that for a fact. As sure as I'm standing here tonight, I know that. I'm doing the survey work. Located the building corners.
well, we need to sort it out with our surveyors. But
So I guess you're saying, Paul, there's two issues. One is the setback of that building.
That's correct. Yes.
The second is whether Birchwood Drive has a 50-foot right of way.
Yeah.
Which is-
My understanding of reading the deeds and the exchange of easements between Piper and Sear, Larry Sear was still alive. And I believe the intention, and it's always dangerous, but I believe they were thinking about that they would create a 50-foot road, 20 feet on Sear and 30 feet on Piper. Right? There's your 50-foot. And then, of course, Piper turns around and conveys into Lakestar. So there's the 50-foot right of way that they have to show for access to their lots on their subdivision.
Right.
I don't think they can.
You don't think they have 50 feet?
No.
Well, yes, they do, all right?
They have the 50 feet, but you're concerned more about the setback from that
Setback.
50.
So and the town ordinance says
Yep.
that you can only use the 75-foot rule if the right of way cannot be determined. In this case here, it can be determined.
75?
Yeah, in other words, 25 feet, they're presuming every road is 50 feet, which is, all right, so they take 25 and add 50 feet. So they're 75 feet from they're used, what that section of the ordinance is doing is they're using the road as the best evidence available to determine the right of way, and that's fine. But that's only with the provision that the right of way cannot be determined. I submit to the board that the right of way can be determined because that's what the exchange of easements was about. Therefore, that house should have been pushed back another 50 feet.
Well, Chris, but that was done code enforcement.
Well, I don't care who it is.
But we can't, but we can't change that.
Well, yeah,
Well, once we become aware of an issue, there are enforcement matters that then need to.
Then they need to be,
But
This is the stuff.
does the town just truly ignore their regulations and standards? I mean, this is a question I've had with the town, codes enforcement, and to some degree, this board. I may be shooting myself in the foot.
well, I mean, the board, we
The
didn't,
board is not in charge.
all we told these people is you have the right to build another house under subdivision law.
Yeah. That they.
And so that's all the planning board said. Then it went to the code enforcement to issue a building permit. But, so, yeah, I don't think it's on the planning board, but it is on the planning board now
And the town.
if to determine if there's appropriate access to the new lots.
Doug Grant, I live on Neil Lane.
Yeah.
My original deed, my deed says from stake 32, I think it is, that the road will be 20 feet on both sides of it. The whole road is on, I guess, the west side of it. So that's why Larry Seal worked with Don Piper to say, we made a mistake. We don't have the right to give them that, so they added the other 30 feet on the other. They came up and did that 30 feet easement on the other side.
No, I'd have to disagree.
Well, I can show you my deed.
Well, I can
And I
tell you the
know it
deed,
was.
so believe me, I've looked at all the deeds. Trust me. I've got a file that thick.
Well, there's been talk and rumors about, the road and misplacement for years, but for me, going forward, what's important, the house is there, that's being built, nothing's gonna change that. so,
Right.
But going forward, I think we should make sure we're meeting setbacks.
Absolutely.
It looks like the other one that has the waterfront parcel, which is the one across from me, it looks like that's pushed further back in, which,
Yeah.
is a good thing, but let's make sure it meets that. And then for me, I'd like to have a clear understanding of, I get that this is a shrunk down piece, but there's still another piece that I'm planning on coming. Is what's happening down that corner, because now we're cutting a driveway in that was gonna be serviced from the road that was there. So, I want, and again, maybe that sounds like you're revising on the plans, because, probably. Fine.
Well, we're working with lots of house. That's the biggest challenge and getting, it should be correct. Yeah. So we're working with them. We certainly, have to work with you on this to make sure we.
Well, I guess I would submit at this point, and this is up to the planning, board, is you've got a non-conforming structure.
Well, if it's non-conforming, sorry, it's gonna go back to the CEO and then it's gonna go to the Board of Selectmen. Oh, Board of Appeals, right.
And you get a variance on something? I just got a question. I mean, this particular, the house that's being built right now, it's not quite finished, but that did not have to be approved by the planning board at all. That needed just simply a building permit because there was no subdivision being proposed at that time. It was just simply a building permit. Goes to the CEO. The CEO, we used to do code enforcement. We didn't go to the registry of deeds and start looking for transfers and that. We would look at, does it meet setbacks? My understanding is in town of Monmouth, in your ordinance, on town roads, it's like from the edge of the known right of way. On camp roads or private roads, it's generally a setback from the edge of the traveled way. If I was a CEO, it's not, well, I thought it was because in Winthrop it is. I was on their ordinance committee. I thought I compared all of looked at Manchester, Reedfield, and I thought Monmouth was similar, but either way. My guess is that the CEO probably did something that was consistent with what the ordinance says.
No, I submit he did not.
Oh, he did, okay.
I submit he did not. Because like I said, I come back to the fact that if they're looking to have a 50-foot road, 20 foot on the Sear property, 30 feet on the proper property, White Star, there's your 50 feet for the road. The easterly right-of-way line of that road is that easement line. The ordinance in Monmouth clearly says that it shall be set back if you're not on the sewer, and this is not, shall be set back 50 feet from the right-of-way line.
Yeah,
And this is here.
specific from the right of way, not simply just the property line, specific from the right of way.
Okay, so private roads have like right of ways.
Well, again, Bill, you have to look at the statute. You can't make generalities here. This case here, what we're specifically talking about, it has a defined right of way.
Okay, and that's published, right?
Yeah,
It's not, well,
yes, it is.
well, it's published, but the problem is, of course,
Registry of Deeds, yeah.
people generally look at what exists on the.
Well, that's the, I would submit to you again that it's.
Well, Paul, I'll just say one thing, and one of the things that I'm not trying to cut anyone some slack. But one thing that I find district-wide in a lot of our towns is code enforcement is hurting. Towns are underfunding code enforcement officers. Too short of time, lack of experience, and, you pretty much get what you pay for, I hate to say it.
But yeah, but. Well, that.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is,
Yeah,
I would not be hanging it on the planning.
Yeah, and I kind of wish that this issue was raised earlier. You know, this has been going on for well over a year, 2
Yeah,
years.
you mean the subdivision.
For me, the only reason it came to light for me was because of survey process.
Yeah.
So I now have a clear understanding of where my boundary line went.
Well,
On
it's,
the other side of the road, which to me was their problem, but I'm, the pin's sitting there, I can see the pin.
yeah. Well, I think what the planning board is gonna need is some clarification from interested parties. Where is this road? And how does it impact what we need to do?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm asking.
And so we can come back next meeting and kind of see what comes up in the interim to kind of resolve this. But we have had this issue come up before, you know, of the need for a 50-foot right of way. What's a little different is you got this existing, it's not like you're constructing a new road. This one is there, there are buildings all along there, many of which may have been built not up to specs.
Oh,
No.
I can't say that because Neil Lane, Birchwood is one, and then you hit Neil
Neil
Lane.
Lane's another.
And I know when I did my addition to the garage, I had to be 50 feet off the right of way from on Neil Lane.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, I mean, you know, Wayne, and the other lots that this passes is Lawrence Park. Lawrence Park was created and approved by the planning board at that time in 1978. But there was another road created, which was now called Whispering Pines. And those buildings meet the setbacks from the road off of Whispering Pines, and they meet the setback from the back property line. So it's the problem was that when they created the lots for Lawrence Park, they had, and Birchwood Lane was existing at that time in 1978. They put the fee ownership of Birchwood on the lot holders, lots 1 through 4. And they just had an easy going across it to reach Neil Lane, or what I call the petty lots. It's a confusion area. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chair, if I could maybe
Yeah.
direct you.
Yeah.
It sounds like, to perhaps very oversimplify a situation, there is a dispute around where the right of way might be between the survey and subsequent subdivision plan that was based on, and now what we're hearing from an abutting property owner.
Well, no, there's no dispute on that. No, there's no dispute on that. I think you're mischaracterizing it. It's a question is how is the town enforcing their setbacks?
No, we can't talk enforcement, Paul, because we're not an enforcing.
I'm not looking for the planning board. I said the town.
Okay.
So the officer of the town charged with enforcement is the codes officer. Putting aside what Bill said about the problem with codes, if you're gonna have a codes officer, you're gonna have ordinances, you have to make sure they're enforced correctly. You can't look one way on this project and another way over on the other.
It's a matter of administration or regulation, regulatory, and not really enforcement in this case right now. We're not enforcing or going after.
So
Yeah, so-
basically what I'm saying to this board is that you have a structure on this proposed project that is non-conforming with respect to this dimensional standards of the town. And you need to how to address them.
Well, if the code enforcement officer determines that there is a issue, then the planning board can't act until the issue is resolved.
Right. So that was going to be my next
Yeah.
point. And then my secondary point is with respect to the other building evidence shown on this, which frankly, I think the point was made that most of these are set back farther, that it's a sort of a non-issue, but the building envelopes would need to be addressed to reflect the setback from the right of way versus the setback from the potential roadway or what is being shown on the.
Setback from the easement.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
the easement area, which is the right of way in this case. Yeah.
And that's something we could certainly do in the future ones, and as you know, you observe that we are further back on all the other homes here.
Now, let me ask you this. A. Hodge, you're only doing the engineering with respect to the wetlands and so on like that.
Right.
All right, Perry, he's not your employee.
No,
No, he's another part of it, because right, I mean, he should have picked up on this early on. When you said you would go over it, but whoever, when Lake Star and the owner said they were going for a building permit, he should have advised them at that time. But that's, neither here, the house is there, and I recognize practical matter, the houses are gonna be built. But the town has a situation with a project is looking for further permits that you cannot, you've got non-conforming with respect to dimensional standards.
on that one existing
On that
lot.
one existing. Well, I guess I submitted to the applicant, Lake Star. And then obviously to the board, how are they gonna address it?
Well, you know for a fact that the code enforcement officers of this town, going back as far as you can think, rely on the surveyor. They don't go and look at deeds. They don't go look at anything else. They rely on the surveys for the boundaries. And that's it. They issue permits. They don't have the time nor the wherewithal to do what you do in your office. We had this conversation for 20 years.
But, but you, the simple matter is you're gonna have to see the setback state.
And there were stakes set on the ground that this house was built to. I can guarantee it, because I was there and witnessed it. The stakes were there.
We can argue this all night, and I don't wanna argue it all night.
So-
They stated my position, and there it
You
is.
can't blame it on the codes officer either.
Well, I don't know where the fault lies, all right? And I'm not gonna love you that tonight.
Well, and as you know too, Paul, sometimes surveyors come to different conclusions, looking at the same data.
This isn't that.
But I mean, I don't know that that's the case here,
I don't believe.
but I think the applicant,
Clearly show where they're taking the building setback from. They're taking the building setback from the perimeter boundary.
well, as I say, we can come back next month and try to see where you're at with, but it may mean there has to be an adjustment to the plan.
So, just positing a question for the board. Given that the applicant and their representative are here, it might be prudent to give them any other questions that you might want to
Yeah.
have addressed in the
Yeah.
meantime as well.
Sure.
And then it's seeming, then you can make your decision on this matter, which I would advise tabling in my professional recommendation.
I've got a question. Paul, the setback is roughly how far would,
Oh, if you go from the edge of the right of way, 30 feet, setback is on the backside of the house.
that side of the house, okay.
Yep.
Okay, in terms of other matters relating to our review standards. Any further questions, comments? I mean, are there other matters that any members feel the applicant needs to address? Looks like we got phosphorus issues addressed as far as the development proposed at this point. Everyone on the same page on that, or?
Could, just as a point of order, could we work toward a conditional approval so we could work on those other lots? Because
Well-
we've got the houses cited on the.
No, because we can't approve the plan if you're gonna have to adjust
It's just adjusting.
addressing the window and the building envelopes and any development within whatever the setback is.
Do you have a permit for either of the other two? No, we aren't able to get another permit to start the other two until because we have, right now it's, we have the parent lot where the farmhouse is, and we can build one more structure on it. So we can't start anything until we have this approval. So it's, you know,
Okay.
it's a hardship. You know, waiting for DEP long enough and need to get going. Oh, thank you.
And you realize in April, the code changed, building code for the state changed. It went from
Yes.
2015 to 2021.
The move that code, but I'm not involved with any of that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. But there's
Yes.
different requirements for the structures.
Yes.
Well, let's just look at the conclusions that we have to reach as the planning board. Obviously, we have to skip number one, compliance with local ordinances until we sort out that issue. Air and water quality standard. Again, I think we can't address that until the building envelopes are adjusted to take into account if there is any setback issue. Number three, water availability and supply. And I think we're talking individual wells of the property, and there's been data submitted. So likely there isn't any issues there. Groundwater. Again, I think probably we're all set on that. Surface water. And again, there are some additional shoreland zoning requirements applicable to one lot that is considered in shoreline zoning. Freshwater wetland number 6 have been mapped. So I think we're all right on that one. Same with 7, 8, 9, erosion control. Looks like we've been given enough that that isn't affected by this road issue. Stormwater, I think that's been addressed. Traffic conditions, transportation. That looks more to the impact on, I think Route 135. I don't.
Next page. Okay. What's 132 doing there?
Well, again, that needs to be corrected.
Just a typo.
It's a typo. So number 4, over to page 5.
Right, if you take that 2 and you take the 3 typos, you get 135.
Oh, somebody would catch that.
Then it mentions, yeah, on the next page, so we've got that situation with Birchwood Drive that needs to be addressed. 12 is, I think, been adequately. Again, there are separate subsurface disposals. Where is the septic for that lot that the construction has been started? Is that affected in any way by,
It's actually back here.
so it's behind the house?
Yes.
So it, septic is likely,
Yeah, but the town ordinance has different setbacks with regard to the waste disposal.
yeah, so we don't,
Because Monmouth doesn't consider waste disposal to be structure.
should be a structure, so we're okay there. Aesthetic, cultural, Again, I think that's been probably not gonna be a significant issue. Financial technical capacity. All right. Number 15, again, we're gonna need to have that addressed. Yeah, all lots meet the required street frontage. The setback should be addressed in that one as well. No impact on adjoining municipalities. Public safety shouldn't be an issue unless there's some issue with the road, but I think that as long as the travel way is sufficient at this point.
Received an email from the fire chiefs.
Yeah. No homeowners association at this point. And we're calling Birchwood Drive. Lots that are accessed would be members of the association responsible for a contribution. Number 20, I think we're all set. 21, there are no new streets at this point. Two, I guess, is the somewhat implicated by this issue. Vegetation landscape integration. Again, I think it's just building envelopes, probably possibly need to be adjusted. No business signs. Outdoor lighting isn't proposed. Shouldn't be any noise issues beyond construction period, normal residential use. Well, I don't think, Jeff, we can really, because of the first condition, it's hard to give a conditional approval until we kind of have the issue of the road addressed, I think.
So, if I'm understanding correctly, what we just need to do is show the setback being from the easement of Birchwood Drive.
Yeah.
And that's the first 1,000 feet, roughly?
Yes, because at the time that Sear and Don Piper exchanged the easements, Larry Sear granted at the northerly boundary of Lawrence Park. It was a 1978 subdivision that was done by Larry Sear, which incorporates 8 lots in Whispering lots, now Whispering Pine 5, I think it is. So you've got lots 1 through 4. And I think they're all, the first one was a little more, I think it's about 300 feet, and the others are yet.
1 through 4 in Lawrence Park.
Yeah, or 200 feet each, so it's a little, right around 1,000.
So
Isn't beyond that, it was,
Then Larry's, Steve, you and Dan has 10-foot easement, and Larry granted Piper or Lake Star a 40-foot easement across Birchwood Drive. Down to just before where the lane starts.
Yeah, so 5.
so so that what model was right on the front stage of the model, which is that waterfront. Yes, with the setback of 50 from a 10-foot.
From the 10-foot off that, 10-foot
It
off.
looks to me like they're probably meeting it, but.
after we finish, can we look at the drawing and I doodle on the drawing? Because I'm not sure where that 10-foot is and.
Yeah. But I've got a project to present, so if you wanna hang around.
Okay, well, I might be able to speak with these two.
Unless the planning board issue.
So I guess we'd entertain a motion to table.
Make a motion to table. Okay.
In favor of table. Yeah, so we gotta sort out that the issue of a non-conforming building with the actual setbacks. Coming
Steve. How are you proposing to bring in utilities
underground.
underground, or where in this 50-foot easement?
It'll come in within the 50-foot easement and then come onto our property and go under.
Yeah, because there is a service drop. I mean, there's no other utilities except power and telecommunications. There is a service drop pole right there. It's a Berkeley Drive. Whispering Pines, it also is on the ground. Up there. Yeah. There's nothing, there's the power to the wall, the plane comes along. You know, right, and now the
Where does that come from?
that comes off of the adjacent property. It's coming, you know.
Not our side, from the other side.
From the other side.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
so my understanding was you're gonna put a pole down at the corner of Neil and Birchwood, essentially, somewhere sitting in that. At some, you know, on that road. Pole from section of pole, that pole. Get over there. That pole. Sit back enough, because that's corner. Winter months with us on that corner.
Yeah.
And that thing needs to be cut off.
Yeah, we've got to coordinate all that. CMP.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's talking to CMP about it.
I think.
I think they were already.
Yeah.
we've had
We were out.
a meeting
Yeah.
with them, so.
Yeah.
It was surveying marked out and we sent the plan out to them for approval. And I'm trying to share it with you.
And they was gonna come down Birchwood to the other houses, right?
Mhm.
To the couple of other houses.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right,
I'll be back.
okay.
We'll be here.
We'll be here.
And you guys did make a wise choice getting into that. I've worked with her up in Orono. It's always been very helpful. Right.
Okay. The next matter, I think they folks had been in earlier. We tabled this. This is the Tina Pelletier, 5 Kimball Lane. Okay. Yeah, let's switch gears here. So I think the issue is whether the application is complete.
Yes, so I went back in the minutes for what you guys were looking for at the time. There was some questions about sort of the need, as I understand it. So they presented some additional information from their contractor. I will note, we haven't had a site walk for this yet.
Right.
So this needs to be initial fullness of
Yeah.
site walk.
We have a motion that we have a complete application now.
Make a motion that we have a complete application.
Is there a second? Second. Second by Ray. All in favor of that motion? So no notices have been sent at this point. Has a fee been paid yet? Have you calculated a fee?
I believe so, but I will verify.
Okay.
Yeah.
So typically on one of these projects, planning board likes to come down and look at the property. Just to see the lay of the land. So you're just proposing pick this building up and replace the existing piers, is that? Or,
Well, yeah.
Yes.
The contractor that we're probably gonna go, more than likely, we've actually just sent the paperwork in, is gonna put an insulated slab with, 2-foot walls. And then to replace the put columns up under the carrying timber under the.
Kimball Lane is on, which, is it Cottawagon? Cobbessy.
Launch Drive.
Oh, it's off 135.
Yeah,
Yeah.
off the Launch Drive.
Yeah, okay. Go off the launch drive.
Yeah, you go down the launch
Drive and then, okay.
When we were originally here, the first contractor that we were trying to work with wasn't able to give us any detail.
Yeah,
Basically said, we won't know until we lift. the
lift it
building.
up, which kind of was,
This new contract we got provided.
Yeah, that was,
Very detailed.
yeah,
that wasn't good enough for us.
Yeah.
We didn't wanna,
Yeah.
oh, let's lift it up and see what we get.
Yeah.
You know, so that wasn't good enough for
Yeah.
us. So we went with this other,
guy,
more reputable.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
Outfit and, we liked his plan. It's more of a very permanent, because we're looking to really make sure that this place is sound.
yeah.
Is it gonna be on post and piers?
The slab.
It's a slab with posts. So, I'm not exactly, I mean, we sent you the
The detail, yeah.
details.
Yeah,
But it's,
they
it's an
spell it all out.
insulated slab with 25-inch walls around the whole perimeter, and then with columns supporting the carrying beams of the house. So it's just gonna be a 25-inch crawl space.
I don't wanna do much crawling.
It's not a crawl space.
Yeah, you get a creeper, you sit on this, you roll.
I guess it's more of a, you know, just to have some airflow to there, just to, you know, but there's basically no airflow under there now, and
It's very wet, so we have.
the floors are getting
Right.
soft, and we're just, you know, trying to make it a more,
I think
something I
you-
can pass on to my kids.
If I remember correctly, one of the questions that you were trying to answer for the state's requirements is this going to be new or just a repair? And so this spells out exactly what's.
So a date for a site visit? 2 weeks from tonight,
What's that?
site visit? 2 weeks from tonight?
August 28th.
August 28th.
5:30? Good time for everybody?
I'll be in California, I won't be able to, yes.
I'll do it at another time. Be around. You can't fly in?
I don't fly back to the night.
Get Tahoe and just have friends in the houseboat.
I know you'd be like 90 miles an hour.
5:30 on the 28th, unless we move it a week. The next week, which puts us the week before the hearing. Does that work better?
I can stop by anytime.
Yeah. So we'll leave it for the 28th at 5:30?
Is 6 PM doable?
Okay, sure.
They're getting out of work, so.
Oh, yeah, well, that's it. That we're trying to accommodate people's work schedules.
Not much to see, because they're not touching anything.
Not by then, I don't think so.
No, the question is, do we have to fullest practical extent? So if we visit the site,
We can say that. We can say that.
You know, ahead of time, that's okay.
you know, just tell
Before you
them.
go.
Yeah. So there are a couple members that we might not be able to go on that date.
That's a stream.
Do you have a problem with them?
Oh,
You're gonna visit
okay.
together, you think?
Like goes
Yeah, we can-
right-
we can
go
call and
over,
visit.
like going-
So they could give you a call and say, we're just gonna
Goes-
drive,
yeah, right,
take a
there's
look.
big house,
Yeah.
and then it goes right there, that's lunch.
All right.
Big house. I
Anything
have
else
one
we need to
question.
address tonight?
Not
this
my
one?
one.
Okay.
On the plot plan. Do you find out what the setback from the rails to the deck is, how many feet? I'd like to know that next meeting.
Oh, from Burrell's?
Burrell's property to the.
Yeah, from Burrell's property to the deck, the side lot setback.
Is it 10 feet?
To the small deck?
Yeah, the small deck.
Yeah,
Little
okay.
tiny deck.
Yeah, we can find that out, yeah.
From the Burrells.
Sure.
Is that deck proposed?
I'm sorry?
Is the deck new?
No, it's part of the structure.
It's existing.
It's existing. Well, the reason for that is.
The deck is gone.
It's gonna be gone.
It was, what was the deck? Okay.
576-2388, which would be.
Yeah, we can get it, I can get a measurement for that.
Well, you're probably.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'll just say 576.
576 is where it is, opposed to, if it's close.
It's not very close at all. No.
Yeah.
Well, more than 20 feet at least from the measurements.
By scale, it's a little over 20 feet.
It's 120 feet.
There's a camper park in between there seasonal, so.
And we'll see you in 2 weeks at 6.
You guys first, I think. Thank you.
Coming in. Then we have a new business item. The initial application. Completeness review of shoreline zoning application for Brian Hintout. To raise the residential structure to replace failing piers beneath the building at 4 Otis Lane. Paul, you represent?
Yes.
8:30 time to.
Well, they just want to accept the application, you know?
Can we shoot them in the foot? Is it time to?
Well, if it's a,
I'll make a motion.
way by the drop, it's my,
Non-debatable.
the thing on my feet, or you can might as well shoot me.
Do we have a motion to find this application complete?
I move that we find this application complete.
Second.
All in favor? Site visit?
He did pay the $250,
Yes, they did.
Okay.
the application.
And we gotta send butter letters. Schedule a. We just set those people at 6. Otis Lane is.
Otis Lane's right next to Bailey.
Right next to Bailey.
Yeah. That's why I made the comment earlier.
Right,
Water's not going that way.
yeah, yeah. That's right, well, I didn't remember that.
Because I know you've been out the Bailey Lane, so you drive in Bailey Lane,
Keep
and you
going.
go to the right, but if you bear to the left, that's Otis Lane.
Yeah.
That's that first
Yeah.
little camp.
We need to have a look, get input from Policy Watershed.
Otis Lane.
We want to do this site visit the next week after, the third week, 3 weeks from tonight.
I don't see this site visit being very complicated at
I
all.
think
you can do it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So if
You
you
would
want,
be able to.
yes,
I mean,
We'll have enough light, go do it after the other one.
either that or before.
Yeah, you could do 5:30.
We could probably do 5:30 there. Then go to.
Yeah, and then go to the other one.
Yeah.
6.
Okay.
the
5:30,
critical thing on this is like, it's gonna have to look at, again, coming back to the practical, because the building's being raised, obviously.
yeah,
Practical location. I'm submitting the narrative that you can't because of the holding tank and the access to the holding tank. They don't have an on-site waste disposal facility. Just have 1,000 gallon tank that they pump out of this. That's all they can get approved on that site. But
pretty small lot, is
it
it?
is, it's only, what, 15,000 square feet. One of the Burton Robinson lots.
Isn't there a drainage ditch too right behind it? I worked on the place.
Yes, there is, right off Otis Lane, yes, yes, there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, well, we'll take a look.
Okay, so did you say 8:28 at 5:30 for
Yeah.
Oaks Lane
Yeah.
and 6 o'clock
For Kimball.
for Kimball? Okay.
August 28th.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 weeks.
At what time did you decide at 5:30?
5:30.
in the morning.
Fine.
You going around the coffee?
Very good. Anything else we need from this? No? Right. Good. All right. We'll move on to other business. Planners report.
I have two things. They're very minor. I did send our comprehensive plan that was adopted at June town meeting to the state. We are expecting, well, they're doing completeness review now. We are expect those comments to be back, if any, by September 24th. And then I believe they have 3 weeks after that to actually say that it's consistent with the Growth Management Act. So we'll probably hear mid-October. And then, but I do have some ordinance things that we should start doing before that.
Yeah.
To sort of tee up for the things that will need to change as a result of the comp plan. Related to that, I've been asked to attend the next Conservation Committee meeting next week to discuss doing the concept of clustered developments, conservation subdivisions, et cetera. We have some regulations in here, but I think they're looking for potentially more. And that is consistent with the recommendations of the comp plan for rural areas. So we'll have that conversation and I'll report back. And my last thing is a personal item. I will not be here in October. I have a planned vacation. I'm getting married that weekend. I won't be here.
Home ownership, marriage.
One question, when you get to the ordinance review, are you gonna have a separate committee or like we have in the past, or is it all gonna be handled here at the board?
We haven't talked to the town manager yet about that.
For the cluster?
No, I mean, no, I don't care about that. I've got other issues.
For all of it.
Yeah, yeah. One of the biggest one is multifamily housing. Addressing that rental housing, or whatever you wanna call it. Standards for that. I mean, I know we have standards for new, but how about existing?
I mean, typically, it's, the planning board has been doing the ordinance reviews, I think. Certainly, we can have, there may be members of the comp plan committee and other interested people that, I'll see what Justin wants us to do.
You won't hear.
Yeah. But there may be some people that.
You have them come on. board.
Yeah, no, I think it's good to have this, a wide range.
I still have a list from 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Of things I want to change.
I have a list going.
I had one too at one point. I didn't find it. Okay.
All right.
Past due, then we do it. We've been waiting for comp plan.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard anything else. I mean, I've had a few things with Andy. There was some question as to whether someone can sell land to the town and not have it count as a subdivision lot. And I basically said, no. You can give it to the town and it doesn't count. But if you sell it, it's a lot. Then you'd have to wait 5 years or do something. There was something else that he had asked that, I know what he's saying is the tower up on Peace Hill Road. No, well, it's accessed off Cobbessy Road. Apparently they want, well, of course, you may have heard US Cellular has been acquired by
T-Mobile.
I did not know. And I don't know if this has anything to do with it. They want to put more arrays on it. I kind of said, if it changes the height, the planning board might have to review it, but I don't think we would otherwise.
We approved the height of the tower with US Cellular and up to 4, if I remember, 4 underneath it.
Okay,
Because we copied the one on Norris Hill.
so we may have to then come back to the planning board
If it changes your finding.
if it changes the finding.
Have to dig those findings
Yeah,
out.
see if we can find that somewhere. Yeah, I didn't write the decision on that, so I don't know that I have a copy. Because I voted against that proposal. But I'm assuming the decision is in the town
It's
office.
there somewhere.
So it's so calm. Gives me so much.
And that's it. But I know this 50-foot issue
It is somewhere.
on subdivisions is gonna impact some other people who are proposing development, I think. You know, the people who came into us before they bought the land on Cottolagon and they had an idea that they were gonna do a campground and maybe a subdivision.
Yeah.
I think their road, the road is that Robinson?
No, it's Packard.
Packard. But
It was off path.
It
it's
is
off
an-
Packard.
Yes, but it is at the easement through the state around that.
There's a question whether they got 50 feet.
Yeah,
I mean, they haven't been back, but I know someone had raised that issue with me. That lived in the area.
we had to get an easement from the state to put Packard Road in because there's a big granite mass in the middle. So we got an easement. That easement is within 50 feet of course, Packard, which is that subdivision
Okay,
proposed.
okay, yeah.
I mean, there's nothing in, but these issues on these roads are problematic.
To me, I think the wording of your current ordinance addresses the setback issue that came up this evening and
Yeah.
that you're referring to, because it's from the right of way, not the property line
Yeah,
for front setbacks, specifically. So I think that addresses a lot of the issues that would come up. To your point, it's about the capacity of
Who
the
knows?
code enforcement officer.
Find out about a right of way.
Right, because
We,
I would always defer to a surveyor.
Surveyor,
Telling you
exactly.
something,
Yeah.
until we get something that says differently.
of course, if something says, it's a red flag, to a codes officer, but, when there's nothing on it.
Like, a lot of times the surveyor's plan will show that the right away or easement right there, and then you go back.
And then there's a building envelope and there's usually dimension there and that's what we look for.
So with this situation here
This one,
is,
I measured it at 20 feet to the edge of the roadway.
Yeah.
And then 50 feet and then 30.
so with this situation here, it's on them. They have to prove with this surveyor that they got it in the right spot.
Right.
So for them to resolve it, they could go to the Board of Appeals, but the Board of Appeals is not gonna do anything. But due to the fact the building's there, for them to sell it's gonna be an issue. Because the banks are gonna pick up, the loan officers are gonna pick up on it.
So they have to get a variance, right?
So they're gonna go to the Board of Selectmen.
the Board of Selectmen have to say they'll not enforce.
Right,
That's right.
typically for a fee.
That's right.
But
And due to the fact it's their mistake,
Yeah.
it's a fee.
occasionally this happens where there's a private property line dispute with a planning board application. I have always erred on if it doesn't materially change the project, as in if all setbacks will still be met, et cetera, we don't need to wait. But in this case, there was, as noted,
It's gonna change.
a variety of issues that may or may not
Yeah.
change as a result of this.
Yeah.
And so I think from my perspective, my role is really to protect the town from liability. I think we did the right thing.
Yeah.
originally.
Yeah.
There's a building in Manchester right now that is half up. And it's, the contractor made it larger than what was originally planned. And quote unquote is in the wrong location. Doesn't have enough sideline, it's too close to the waterfront. So there's a stop work order on it. There it sits.
Yeah.
Can we ask them to just move the house?
No,
Why not?
come on. Be
Come
real.
on, come on.
Well, I'll give you an example. We had an individual who came,
This is a $2,000 violation.
Yeah.
Not a $200,000 violation.
so I'll give you an example. We had an individual came in. The
You could
CEO
use the
told
money.
him not to build it. He built the garage too close to the line. And then he came to the Board of Selectmen with his attorney. And from the day on, we fined him was $100 a day. It was $5,000 fine. Either take it down or pay the $5,000. The lawyer says pay the $5,000. Give your garage. And this is something that's gonna happen here. Due to the fact it is their area, they didn't pick up on it. It's up to the board of selectmen to decide what that fine's gonna be.
Well, the town could use a little money.
But like Dave said, it's,
Wow,
it's not, it wasn't done intentionally.
yeah.
It's.
People make mistakes.
Right. And I guess as an issue, does a 50-foot setback from the road, should it be required everywhere in town? You know, that's something I think we should kind of take up as the ordinances are being reviewed. I mean, we run into this all the time.
We already
These
have
camp-
to with sewer and water. We
Yeah.
reduced it for that.
Well, and you have all these old camp roads.
And the camp roads that are 15 feet wide.
Yeah,
Just because that's where the road is, doesn't mean that's where it actually is supposed to be.
right,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
There was a tree in the way, so they moved the road over.
Yeah, or a rock, or a big bit of ledge, or
Something.
say, yeah. So, I don't know.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Or you want- Motion to adjourn.
Oh, any public comment before we close?
Joe?
Not hearing any, we will adjourn.
So
Who's gonna second it?
then they said
Second.
where the rubies,
Second.
It's
set the lines.
Don't have to really vote on the motion.
Closer to us this time.
All in favor?
I still think.
Now,
All in favor.
No, they won't do it.